Skibbity boop bow, skibbity bop bow, boop bam, bam, ba boop bow. Hey everybody, welcome back to episode 73 of Brise's Tale. That's right, it's time again for Karandrin role playing. My name is Kevin Manus Pinnings, also known as Cracked Palantir. I will be your host and game master for the night for this episode 73 of Brise's Tale. This will be our next to last one for the season. But before we get to those announcements, I should welcome Max to the stream,
Of course.
who is excited to be alive and plays the lovely Brise, the paladin. Say hello to lovely folks.
We all know if I'm not welcomed, I can't start playing, and that would be just you talking.
Which no one needs that. No one.
Hello, everybody, and I hope you're thought it was over, but it's not. There's an aftermath, and there's many more adventures to come. So, a few more sessions before the year's end. That I hope you'll.
That's right. So we're gonna have one more on the 20th. That'll be our last one for the year, and then we will restart January 5th. That's our decision. We'll update that on the website later this week. So hopefully you will have a great holiday, whatever your traditions dictate for you, and you'll have wonderful times, and then you will come back to the darker world of Karandrin, and we'll see where Brise's next adventure takes her. It is
Karandrin, where holidays don't exist.
That's right. That's one of my goals, actually, is to get festival dates down for all the gods. So, it is an organic world. It's a sandbox world. I have nothing planned, but there are lots of leads out there that just in the course of play over the last 3 years, that we've encountered that, Max and Brise are free to choose from. So we'll figure all that out in the next coming streams, and certainly in the new year we'll figure out where that's going. We did have a big event last stream. I'm not going to go into too much detail because of spoilers may ruin people's lives, and I know I don't want to do that. If you've not watched the stream before, then you really need to. It is it's too much to spoil. So
can we just keep it a secret? Like every time we mention up, like
the
XYZ,
event, yeah.
But it's like an elephant in the room, right? It's like what everyone's talking about.
That's right. We had left off with the event, and now essentially the party basically gathers various goods and regroups, and they teleport with the attempt over to free Kralum. They regather and regroup, and we did a little play off stream to take care of some logistical stuff. Oh my God, Max is back on the scotch. We had hopes.
I can't get away from it. After that last stream,
exactly. You may never get off of this.
Still recovering. Do we want to say some of the treasure that Brise came across real quick?
So yeah, why don't you give us a rundown on that?
There's some really cool items here. A shield of interference, which essentially can negate attack spells aimed at me if they don't succeed a certain roll. An amulet of spell absorption, which even if I'm caught unawares by a spell, will negate or absorb the first 15 levels of that spell, which is pretty cool. We have a cool potion, the Night Fume, which emits a black fog, and whoever's in that fog gets a bonus to their attacks or non-physical actions for an entire night, which is pretty nice. And this and 20 mithril, that's pretty good too. Then this
2,000 gold.
yeah, this is cool. It was probably just like a little stack, like that much, in a whole pile of all the
Right.
a lot. And then this leather jerkin, an eel's leather jerkin, which is interesting. Whenever I take damage, the opponent takes an electric critical in response. Did we, I didn't say, is that like a physical like blow, you said, as in like they contact it? Kind of.
Yes. Yeah, it's going to be a physical blow. Less conductive weapons may have the roll reduced. If it's not great at conducting electricity, it works really great against what Rollmaster calls natural attacks. So like claw and bite. Yeah.
Right.
Enjoy.
Right. Conductive weapons and like natural, yeah. And then also the jerkin gives me plus 25 to contortions, I guess, like flexible maneuvers, basically, which is
right.
Cool. So Brise can join the circus.
That's right. Bearded lady.
Go from one dangerous career to another.
That's right.
But yeah. And so that's all taken care of.
So everyone is gathered back and put in order, and then they teleport back. You find teleport goes well, unlike yours, but so you appear back in that clearing at the edge of the goblin town of Balabry.
Right.
And they there's still work for them to do, including returning the creatures now that they're finished with them, these crystal beaked lizards.
Yeah, they'll return them to their natural habitat instead of releasing them here.
I'm wrong, actually. They disappeared in the attempt. They disappeared in the attempt. They didn't make it back. Actually.
Oh, okay. I think you probably rolled that, but maybe didn't reveal it. In the heat of the moment, we were all probably.
Yes, that's a kind way of phrasing it. So so you're sort of released. They all the wizards in charge, Plesh and Fraldrin and Falramar, they all urge you to to get back to the healing ward.
Yeah, I still have this grave injury that needs surgery and could go to infection.
Yes. And so, while I hate undercutting drama, we'll certainly I just have to roll through that. Fraldrin.
Yeah, I completely forgot it was my right arm, right? That's
it's your off arm.
Right. Yeah. Which is good. I was like, wait a second. That would change my my feelings on this injury a lot.
Right, yeah.
I was recalling correctly. That was my off arm.
Yeah, because you're a lefty, you're a southpaw. So Fraldrin, she doesn't want you to teleport, in your injured condition. She will teleport you, and certainly can get you right to the healing ward immediately, since she has run of the castle in terms of where to teleport.
Okay.
Throw up some our captions.
Before we depart, I definitely want to give them just thanks for everything, genuine for letting me to accompany, and for everything, all the help they've lent. This was felt like mostly their effort, and I was tagging along.
Well, they tell you they'll definitely see you again before taking leave of you. They have to present they have to report to Lady Miagral and let her know how things went.
Right.
And so on. And so
Here's an interesting idea I just thought. We're gonna give all this stuff to Muriel. Is that gonna make her like really powerful? I guess they've thought about that, right? They don't like they wanna give
Yeah,
her the.
that's why there's 2 sets of books on the inventory.
Yeah, I was gonna say it would be probably smart to disperse some to the other lords secretly of the
Or just they just keep it
or
themselves.
right, just keep it. Yeah, don't let anyone.
Um, I mean, they had to hire scouts and guards and so on.
Right,
They still have to return the guards to their homeland.
right.
Um, you
True,
know,
because we're all foreigners. Yeah.
yeah, and so
Hmm.
um,
Expensive
so
information. Okay.
they'll give an update, of course, to Miguel about how the attempt went. But regardless of how it went, they were able to secure Verilak's treasure, and so they've got to give her share of that. But they all tell you that they'll make it a particular, um, a particular effort to come and find you before they take leave of you.
Yeah.
And so,
Gotta,
um,
gotta celebrate.
yeah, it's gonna go for a beer. Fraudrum, bids farewell to the other two, Flesh and Faramar,
Hmm.
and then teleports you directly to a corner of the healing ward. Um, um, Causes some jumpiness in the healing ward as there is a new patient and there is also a healer in the room who jumps just because you never know when someone's going to pop in, but quickly recovers and you know demands to know what business she has taking her patient from her. And Fraudrum says it needs not concern you. Just concern yourself with her care.
Tell them I promise I won't get up and leave again.
That's right.
What?
That's like an allergy pill at the break. Jeez.
I've allergies. I never had allergies, but just like the past 3 days, I've had kind of like a little, sinus stuff going on.
Yeah.
I've never had allergies. But
Yeah. Well, I had a buddy in college. He was the same way. And then one day he just itched all over.
yeah.
And he sort of pushed through it for a couple of days and then finally went to the college clinic. And he had become allergic to the perfumes in detergents. So he had
Oh
to go
yeah.
buy scentless detergent and rewash all of his
Yeah.
clothes, including his clean clothes.
Yeah.
And literally just happened overnight.
Weird thing. Yeah. Because I'm
So,
afraid I might have gotten allergic to Michelle's dog.
oh,
That'd be terrible.
well, you can. I mean, if you're not bad, you can go get you some Allegra, something like
Yeah,
that.
I think maybe I'll try something if it doesn't go away. So,
Those, the Allegras and Zyzols and those sorts of things, are 24 hours, so it's just one pill a day. So if you've not had any
rest
experience
of
with
your life.
that. And again, 1,000 Karandrin points to anyone who gets Allegra as our sponsor.
Yeah.
I love doing that. That cracks me up. Just the idea of someone trying to do that. And then us awarding them Karandrin
Imaginary points.
And I don't know. If they did that, surely we would then have funds to be able to make them a nice Karandrin T-shirt and sign it or something. We could do
Exactly.
that. Would be fun to do. Um, so, um, um, so you make it back. Placed on bed rest. The um, the healer goblin woman, she is concerned. You seem flushed and overworked and overwrought.
You're very warm. Like, yeah, well, it's just in a volcano.
Exactly. Your fever is like lava.
200 degrees.
She checks the wound and says, you must be remarkably hardy um, to bear this wound as well as you have. And she goes to inform um, the chief healer that you're back. Um, let's see who the new occupant.
They were so angry I left because they liked looking at me. They were like, "Where's the pretty girl going? You can't take her away."
Right.
The only attractive patient in this whole clinic.
Right. So, an angel just brought me an allergy pill. Isn't that sweet? So hang on. I'm just taking my drugs online.
Good. I thought you were gonna dry swallow.
Yeah, I don't do
Movie.
that. Dry swallowing. That's not a movie. So so let's see who a new occupant is, in case it becomes a point of a source of information for you. So it's halfling male. I don't. Oh, there it is. Some age, past middle age, certainly. So elderly but not ancient. He is. He's a guest of one of the lords that lives at the at the keep with Miagral. You're told to address him with respect. Therefore, and in true halfling fashion, he's very, very friendly and introduces himself. His name is Bengar. He apparently took a fall down some steps here.
I see. How dangerous.
How dangerous. You know what I've been doing?
He's like, I fell down some steps that were, I don't know, 10,000 feet in the air.
That's right. He, he's just very talkative. He's perfectly, he's very kind.
Well, that's fine. I don't mind having a chat. What time of day is it, by the way? How long was
you guys were gone between 2 and 3 hours?
Yeah.
So what would that put it at?
It was late morning, I think, when we left. So
right,
early afternoon.
Yeah. So we'll assume that you've asked for food. So they probably wouldn't feed you at the encampment, just trying to get you back faster than not. So you're brought lunch. He's brought lunch. Clearly, his lunch is better than your lunch. It's he gets the dome over the food.
Yeah. But then it's like he gets like the really fancy thing where it's like just like 2 bites, and then mine is like just like a whole like slab of steak.
Oh, right, exactly.
Like, I want what she's having.
That's right. Well, in fact, he is so kind. When he sees the discrepancy, he demands that you're brought the same thing.
Well, I say no. Food it's. I don't even care about food. It's not. It all tastes the same to me.
He's shocked to hear that, and he's like, "No, you must give every attempt to broaden your palate. You can't simply. Food is what life is about." And see what his weight is here. Yeah, he's an average weight hobbit, so you believe him. So just in chatting, he's friends of a nephew of one of Miagral's nephews who lives in the keep. He is. I don't think I have my profession roller out. Where would I find that? He is a stonemason. has done a lot of the more prominent stonework in Ballabry. By his dress, he's very well to do. Um, um, he says, "You've been quite the subject of conversation throughout the keep, I hear. I've had many conversations about you myself, nothing untoward, just that you and your friends present quite a mystery to the rest of the denizens of the keep. Um, he said, have you any tales to share that might alleviate the mysteries?"
Uh, well, I'll just tell him about that I'm an adventurer and been exploring around the region, and tell him about the four wells, like that area I came across. North of here in the valley, and some investigating some disturbances, something possibly supernatural. Kind of feel it out if he's interested in details or not.
Yeah, he's clearly, his face lights up. He's clearly a man who enjoys tales, no matter, of wonder, really,
Yeah.
right? You're gonna die on the stream.
My gosh.
Um, so pass the time telling him the tale, at least of the four wells.
Yeah. Voshan. Oh, that was my mother's name.
I actually already rolled for that because they're a little bit long lived. The
Right.
halflings are,
Right.
and
They
so
could have known. Yeah.
it would have he would have been in. He could have possibly, at least his family would have been in the region, assuming they didn't move here in the meantime. You know, uh, if he's 3/4 or so the age, so that puts him around. He's probably 80 years old and has another 30 or 40 to live. Then it means his father definitely, well, his parents could definitely have heard tales and that sort of thing. Um, I should roll number, I guess. He's really interested, and wow, he he gets up on his broken foot
Yeah.
and he hobbles over to you and sits on the bed and he says, "Have you ever heard?" And he glances around, of the Iron Empress.
That I have. Say, she's apparently. I say, what I kind of know about her, important figure in this valley, especially.
Well, one of the neighboring valleys.
Oh, that's right, right. In nearby, part of an older religion of nearby area.
Well, I wouldn't go talking about her too openly
Mm-hmm.
because I myself was approached by their cult
Oh, interesting.
not more than a week ago. They wanted me to join. They claimed to have significant power
Hmm.
and could help me in my business dealings and so on. They say they have members here at court, as well as, and I've forgotten his name, the neighboring county. I'm sorry?
Algrit.
Yes,
Yeah.
in Aldrich's court as well. and they're making inroads in Hanrock, Pleston, and Convergence.
I tell him that is concerning. I have, in my travels, I've come across, mentioned like ogres and other beings, affiliated with her, evil beings, affiliated with her as well. Clearly, we're right to. I'm assuming you refuse them. Right to refuse them.
Well, there's the question. Do I refuse, as a principled man should do, or do I accept and become a spy?
Mm-hmm. Dangerous.
You're like, oh, he is so in over his head.
Yeah.
Real meaning, but he's in over his head. He asked your advice. Which do you think he should do?
Well, I have to say,
attack.
Yeah, I think you should, be how do I describe it? It's too risky, for someone of your ranking, your nobility, to do something like
You're
that.
standing in the town.
Yeah, certainly, for hardened type like me, it might be something to try.
You clearly gave him the advice he didn't want to hear. He's sort of crestfallen,
Yeah.
Let me take a look at him again. Oh, I got sneezed. I'm sorry. Goodness. Come on, medicine.
That allergy pill needs to kick in.
Yeah, it does. There we go.
I might catch your allergies.
I know. Oh, he's no dummy by any means. He's quite clever. Interesting.
I do try to bring a spiritsman again and say, but just you interacting with them is very useful. If you give any details about, any more details about who approached you, might be a good lead into, rooting out their organization more thoroughly.
Man, I just rolled him like, hey, was it this person? Well, it's an officer here
No.
who visited me at my shop, my place of work. Sure was. Any guesses?
Does his name start with have itch in it? itch and R?
Yes, that was his name.
HR. Oh my gosh. Okay. I say I'm familiar with HR. But interacted with him a few times. Though he's never brought that aspect up.
The number I rolled for him being the one was close to 300. I'm like, yeah, okay, he's certainly kind of person to dabble in power plays like that and underhanded dealings. So, okay, we'll just give him a role. I can't really think of anybody else that deserves a particular role. And it was just off the charts. Well, I have told him that I would consider the matter. I have noticed him lurking about, so I don't doubt that he assumes that I'm here to give him an answer. So he asked for information on HR, like your opinion of him and so on.
I'll tell him pretty much everything I know just about HR.
While he's
I don't need to mince words,
yeah, sure.
He's pretty ruthless and very knowledgeable.
Well, about politics.
Well, right, politics, yeah, specifically.
Which is interesting because that means he's really well positioned then to do to make offers. You know what I mean? He'll know who needs things
Right.
and who's opposing who and that sort of thing. Um, um, so yeah, it's interesting.
Hmm.
Well, he says there are others here in the court, though he refused to give names.
Right.
And you notice that he's sitting there and he's uncovered your food that they brought, and he's sort of munching while he's talking to you, and he's
Yeah.
you're like, halflings. But he's very cheery. He's very friendly.
He's like, I just need to make sure they're equal. I don't want you to be devoid.
What's equal? What do you mean?
The dishes, right? He's like, bring her the same thing. I need to make sure. Starts eating.
Exactly. Quality check. Check.
Did you see Obi-Wan? Karen says you're a little echoey. I don't hear it, but
it was for a while, and I was just kind of waiting to see if it was just on if it was just an effect I was hearing, or if the audience can hear it. And now I don't hear it. So Obi-Wan, let me know if you still hear us echoing. There have been times where I have heard
hear us. Echo.
There have been times where I have heard it and no one's made comment. Like you haven't, and no one else has, and I'm like, interesting. I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to know what your computer picks up versus what Restream picks up, and Restream probably filters the audio itself, so it could
have
its own built-in echo suppression.
Come on, Bill. He says, I really think I should join. I think I would be an excellent spy.
I don't know. You know what I say is, well, well, I guess he is. If I feel like he's clever enough, it's like I say the danger of being a spy is then now you are committing your resources to the Iron Empress. They could ask you to do something, and you couldn't really say no. For someone of your standing, that might have a pretty significant impact, right?
I am financially secure, and you can tell now, examining his dress up close, you're like, he is not at all frugal with his money and he's spending too much on his wardrobe, or he is at least as wealthy as your parents, as your family is.
Right.
Hundreds of gold easily at their disposal.
Yeah.
Well, I do fear that I have already played a bit of a spy, and perhaps unwisely. Do not be cross with me. But I have been able to locate at least one of the places they meet by having one of my boys follow Echar around when he's in town. And he has odd dealings with people you wouldn't expect for a mere guard, or whatever you described him as, some captain of the gate.
Mm-hmm.
But he certainly is approaching influential people and meets at one of their houses. Anlib the winemaker. She is, I believe, a member. A goblin woman. Do you know her?
I don't think the name rings a bell.
No, it should not.
Hey, Arpen.
Hey, Arpen, on early.
Ian Leb. I asked him where's it do you think they meet at? And
Well, they meet at her house,
oh, I see. Okay.
her in-town residence, whereas our meeting was a mere 10, 15 minutes.
Right.
As he explained the benefits of joining this cult of the Iron Empress, their meeting was accompanied by several people and lasted well over an hour.
Mm.
My boy didn't recognize the others. And it was getting close to his bedtime, and so he couldn't stay and risk following any of the other members to find out their identities.
Right.
Lady Miagral's nephew, my good friend, Bredek is his name.
Mm.
Um, has discounted, the possibility of cults operating here. I don't think he will be of any service. I have heard that you have gone and spoken with Lady Miagral herself. I wonder if it might be worth mentioning to her.
Good idea. Yeah.
They say also that you consort with wizards. And I wonder if mentioning it to one of them would be useful.
Right. I tell him that Fraldrim, the Miagral's chief wizard of the court, is a very good-hearted individual. Although she's strained for time, she would definitely make an effort to help out. I mean, myself thinking, I wonder if there's anything like any approach that I could take. Like, it's like it sounds fun. Like they're kind of like to try to tail them there and follow them. And like, what do I do when I get there, though?
Well, I mean, you definitely have the skill set,
Right.
where you can do it. I mean, obviously one of the big challenges is Balabri is so confusing to operate.
Right.
But I guess if you're following somebody, that's the easy part. I guess the hard part is getting back.
Right.
But with teleport, that is somewhat alleviated.
Or even just asking around for Anlem the winemaker, who has excellent wines, so I've heard.
Well, I mean, it's not as if, I mean, he sounds as though he knows where that house is. He could give you descriptions and directions. That won't be an issue.
Right.
And certainly, and if you have do you still have some of the potions of face changing?
I do.
I mean, that's excellent for following someone, right? And especially useful for you because you are so striking in appearance that you're just, I mean, you really got to go cowl down.
Right.
I mean,
people can spot me from a mile away.
Right.
I was just saying, so I get there, and then now I, know where they are. I guess I would learn of what they're meeting and how, what are their other connections really be the purpose of that.
Right. And you certainly also have at least some of the skills that would enable you to break in to a house and maybe sneak around.
Right.
I mean, I don't think you consider yourself the sneakiest, right? You're a little.
No, yeah.
You're a little. Your impression, your opinion of your own.
Right. Confront people head on,
Well, you feel like you're good at stalking and hiding, so that's
okay.
So you would, you would definitely. I mean, it's definitely a possibility where you could break into a place
Right.
and creep about, and if you find something like relics or something more sinister, um, then you can consider taking them and dumping them in the river, taking them to a temple or whatever. Um,
Items of evil power, the big trope in like video games and movies, right? It's like, what if they write all their plans down on paper in an easy to read format? And then, like, this is what they're going to do next.
right, exactly. Yeah.
Although I guess they might have letters written, prepared to be delivered.
There could be things like that, right, where they've received instructions and they've kept that copy. Um, um,
Okay.
Andrew and Mara broke into a cult one time. It was fun. It was a fun caper, because
Mhm.
they crept up on this adjoining stable, and then they crawled up to the roof. And Andrew at the time had oh acid, a dagger of corrosion, and so it would emit acid. It would just exude acid. And he just cut through the lock on the window, and they opened it up and everything. And they got discovered soon thereafter. But they had this cool fight. Andrew and a bad guy, or maybe it was Mara, Karen and a bad guy. They tumbled down the stairs fighting. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Um, so
Yeah. I'll tell him like, well, if you tell me where that house is, I do have the skill set to, at least investigate and possibly find out some more information without getting hurt.
well, um, maybe I could then provide supplies and information for our side of the battle. If you are frightened of my safety and maintaining my standards, my standing in the community, well, I appreciate that, but I can't let you take all the risk. So he asked for pen and paper, and he actually draws a map, and he marks his home, his office, and Anlib's home.
Okay.
And he he seals it with wax, and folds it up and seals it with wax, so that it won't have been opened, except you'll know if it's been opened by anyone but you.
Right.
And then he gives you a conspiratorial wink, takes a few more bites of your lunch, and goes and sits down.
And immediately falls asleep.
Probably he is a halfling. Gonna take several naps a day. He's like, I'm an involuntary halfling. I take.
A halfling by choice.
That's right.
He's actually like 6 feet tall.
Tolkien said, and if you search for this phrase, you'll find a book that I worked on. I'm a hobbit in all but size, and that was one of his phrases.
That's great.
So I was one of the Tolkien books.
Got big hairy feet.
That's
what he was trying to tell his audience.
So you guys sort of eat and chat. He is rather knowledgeable. He's just a collector of interesting tales, and so he's always loved. I mean, you could have seen him becoming an adventurer at any point in his life, just because you're like, I recognize that bug in him of wanting to see these things, but prosperity led him down another course, and so he talks about just some things of note for you. The in the Pin clans, the northern desert empire to the east. There are alleged to be wondrous caves called the Caves of Scalus. And I'll send you that spelling. Um, um, they are supposed to lead to 3 great pools. And in those pools, one can write a question 3 times, basically, on 3 separate pieces of paper and toss them into the pools. And great revelations are seen in images in the pools. He heard that tale firsthand from someone who had visited the pools in search of spiritual truth. And though their lives were shattered, they were the answers shattered their lives, their life. They were very glad for the experience. Man, yeah. So you guys just talk until he's just rattling off stories that he's heard. And he keeps logs of things he's heard. He writes them down. And he's only interrupted when the healers come in and they tell you that there's going to be a surgery will be this evening to try to get your shoulder bones sufficiently aligned that a potion could then help them mend. So they encourage quiet and to get as much rest as you can. And you are kind of beat.
Right. So socially and physically. And
that's right.
Yeah.
So you sort of nod off pretty soon, probably in the middle of a sentence of your neighbors. I need to, if you're going to make regular contact with him, I need to add him to the NPC database.
Give him an NPC database entry. Pretty much every halfling, just because they're going to be so conversational.
That's right. They're so sweet. I mean, they're such a kind people. I'm trying to get myself centered here. There we go. Yeah, you sleep until you're actually awakened at one point, you think, by Aldrich, and you remember exchanging words with him. You definitely remember telling him how the attempt at freeing Crowlem went. And he takes that news as you would expect. And then
just kind of confused, like, that's good. Yeah, honey. I don't understand, but thank you.
Exactly.
He's probably very happy.
And then the next thing there is people standing over you, murmuring spells.
Magical surgery.
A piece of tough leather is put in your mouth. And you are You assume you're being operated on. Roll. Let's see how things go.
60.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Modern anesthetics are not.
It is the next day. It is fairly late. It's mid-morning. Aldrich is there.
They don't have 3 arms.
That's right. Have you watched much Futurama?
A little, not too much.
The doctor on there, Zoidberg, he's an alien, and he always talks about, like like, oh, that's right, your skeleton's on the inside.
Right.
Things like you're like, oh god, get away from me.
Of course, I know what I'm doing now. Open your mouth and say.
Exactly.
I remember that
from. The arm is wrapped and immobilized, and but there is inherently less pain. Aldrich stirs and is so excited to see you. You are very warmed to see him. He says, "Don't move. You're supposed to eat a hot breakfast, and just stay still," and so on. But things went very well with the surgery.
Good.
So he runs and fetches a tray of hot oatmeal, and he feeds you, and Fraldrum appears at the doorway as you're finishing up breakfast. And approaches and sort of lays a hand on Aldrich's shoulder and says, "Before you smothered her, let us have a word." Well, you can get back to her in a moment, and shoos him away.
No.
So, she asks about how you're doing and things like that. She tells you that the camp is breaking apart probably by lunch, and the men will be returned to their homelands and so on. Lady Miagral has been informed fully of everything that happened.
Okay. When she says fully, I imagine that means every detail, like about.
Yes.
Okay. What's her judgment? What's her
reaction?
Assessment. Yeah.
As you would expect, disbelief about a good deal of it, but it is growing on her. I have I have emphasized the importance of your role and your courage in all of this. And I have secured for you residence here under my authority with her blessing.
Oh, okay.
given that you seem to be certainly a force that wants to see right done in the world.
Mm.
Now, I, she has approved it, but you have not. You should feel free to decide whatever you wish. Um, and if you wish simply quarters be available for you here whenever you need them, then I can certainly see to that. Um, and you may have free reign. I will say that you, by accepting this, you will always be to some degree under obligation of Lady Miragral. That is, as a guest of hers, should she ask you to do something, um, you're going to have to find a way to do it. This has been my curse as well, and at times I have had to fudge what she's asked me to do. Um, and um, it may be more morally freeing for you simply to take a home in town and still be near Aldrich. Um,
Yeah, it's interesting. That's something I kind of forgot to think about as like, yeah, what would happen at the keep if, now that all this business concluded.
um, you would have access as to the lower cost of the potions here, and you would also be able to have some items forged as their duties allow.
Right.
But again, I I leave that to you. The moral obligations here I have taken on so that I can steer Miagral correctly.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, yeah. So it's Brise thinks that I kind of would be in the same position as Fraldrum. Is like, well, I can take what Miogo asked me to do, and maybe if she asked me to do anything, right, and do make it execute in a positive way, right?
right.
And I'm trying to remember my opinion of Mia Grawl. I think I do kind of respect her. I think she is
Right.
a good lord. Good
She's
lord.
certainly very well respected. She's certainly, I think you're
People are
one.
loyal to her. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, she certainly has a very good reputation among her people and her men.
Right.
Um, she is certainly dedicated, though, to the growth of her family, which
Right.
no doubt is going to at times blind her,
Right.
just as you've seen it done in your own family, where they,
Right.
will.
And that's what I feel like. It's like that's probably every lord. I
Right.
come across. To be in a way affiliated with that.
And she doesn't need an answer now.
Right. And one thing I'm curious about is like, so this obligation, does this mean, to be available at the keep at certain times?
No, you're free to go
Right.
whenever. But should you receive word either here at the keep or at some of the lodging,
Right.
You would be expected here per the instructions.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I tell her that it's a very generous offer, and I'll think on it. Give me a day to think on it, and I'll have an answer.
She says, of course, do you want to bring up, however quietly, the Iron Empress and your Scooby Gang in the next bed?
Yeah, might as well just put it on our radar. I do say that I don't know if I've ever brought it up with her explicitly.
I can't remember. I know you've brought it up with one. I think with Plesh.
Had a beer for sure, and
right.
Plesh, yeah, it was period inside my mind too. So I do kind of just something you should know about. Have you heard of the Iron Empress at all? What do you know of that name?
The name, yes,
Okay.
an ancient god worshipped in these lands and those to the north and to the west for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I had heard word of uh, cult being formed in Morgrim by an acquaintance who holds power there. And that kind of surprised you. Morgrim is the southernmost. It's straight north of Alamar. It's on the coast,
Mm-hmm.
so that's even beyond Pleston. So, and as with all of these things, of course, they will attempt to gather influence until they can persuade someone to build them a temple, and then it will be the typical political warfare between religions.
Right. Well, unfortunately, this specific goddess is a definitely an evil one. I've seen her symbology associated with the undead and with um, trolls as well.
Ogres.
Ogres, right? Ogres, trolls,
What
all the bad people.
bad?
And then specifically, also, I think the cult here in Balabry includes some of Mirgal's court, what I've come to realize.
Are you gonna say names?
Well, yeah, I'm. Just unless she stops me in the accident, and I'll say HR.
No, she's quite alarmed.
Yeah.
She's like, you know, under my very nose.
Mm-hmm.
What do you know?
Tell her pretty much everything I know. I trust her about where I've spots that I've discovered the Empress. That I'll even mention she appeared in my dreams and been able to kind of fend her off. Push her away with my own will. But she's definitely has some power. Has some authority.
Anleb, that you mentioned, is a good friend of Lady Miagral's.
Okay.
Are you gonna mention Bengar?
No, I don't think so. I don't know. I'm kind of worried about it. It might be spilling too much information.
Well,
Well, I mean, I guess it would be better for her to know because then she knows who's who, right? I say, look over me at Dengar over there is apparently was approached by HR and told me all this in the first place, but he's on our side and wishes to help if he can.
I should have had you make a intuition roll regarding Bengar. Let's
All
have you
right.
do that now.
Sure, yeah.
Your gut feeling.
64.
He is as he appears.
Mm-hmm.
Is definitely your feeling about him. She asks you, what your sense is of him. You tell her.
Mm-hmm.
You give your misgivings about his overenthusiasm, and she says, "I have an idea about that."
I mean, the guy can't even runs downstairs. Probably is probably a guy. It's like, I gotta get to breakfast.
That's right.
Oh no. He won't admit it, but I'm sure that's what it is.
She asks what your thoughts are about the cult. That is, I guess, how would one ask another person this? I guess you wouldn't make any assumptions.
Right. It's intense, you mean? Or like,
So she asks you, what are your plans hereafter? And do you expect them to involve this cult?
Well, yeah, I do. I am interested in finding out more information, at least. And how would I word that then?
Or you don't know?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't know. I say, I'm interested, I'm invested. Obviously, this is something we should investigate and try to put a stop to, but I'm not sure what the next course of action is to take.
Cults remain secret for as long as they find it advantageous to do so.
Mm-hmm.
There are some cults that wind up being nothing because there is no real power behind them.
Mm.
But you'll find that cults will quickly try to gather a handful of financiers, of patrons that can help them acquire expensive ritual objects or have them made. Can also provide housing for meetings, as well as a couple of guards to keep those places safe.
Right.
Thereafter, they tend to grow in one of two directions. Either it spans into more wealthy dilettantes sitting around chanting nonsense, or if there's a real power behind it, it begins taking action against its enemies and placing people in influence. And that usually involves the hiring of adventurers such as yourself to be used as assassins and operatives. In addition to, I was going to say but really it's in addition to hiring professional assassins to begin eliminating people who would oppose the spread of the faith.
Right. Right. I'd say that it's me being religious too. It's like, well, this is definitely a God that does exist in some form and has some, vengeful power to it.
How would you know? Consider that if you had come across Kralum in some other form, fully vested in his powers, you could believe that he is a god. That is to say, it is just as easy for a demon to masquerade as a god, good or evil. So long as they have sufficient power, we can be led to believe anything.
Okay. Well, I will say that I've seen this, this Iron Empress depicted, in different places on some artifacts and many historical records.
But you don't know whether the cult is simply borrowing her name.
Fraldrum is confusing Max. I don't know.
Apparently.
So you're saying she's questioning whether the Iron Empress will actually connect with the cult's power is kind of,
or whether there's simply another power, significant power, taking the Iron Empress's name and creating a cult to gain influence and wealth.
Okay, I see. Yeah. Okay, so in that case, I say, well, then maybe they're not a god, but there is still some. Well, okay.
Does this fall under the this?
It's just such a gray area, right? It's like
it's immaterial in a sense, right?
Yeah.
They still have to be acted against. She just
Right.
doesn't want you to make the assumption that necessarily the Iron Empress is truly behind anything.
Right. I mean, even if she appeared in my dreams, right? That I don't know
You
what that
you
means.
knew it. You knew what she was
Yeah.
because you have seen images of her
Right.
before,
Right. So
which
maybe.
means so long as they have the ability to create those images in your mind, they can appear to be the Iron Empress.
Right. Okay. And she's saying not to take it out of hand. Yeah. That this is
Right.
supernatural force that needs to be.
As an example, she tells you flatly, doesn't ask, she tells you, you have face changing potions. You,
Okay.
she's been keeping
Very
tabs.
close tabs. Yeah.
So you could take one of those, change your garb, and appear before Ichar as the Iron Empress and demand that he do something.
That would be hilarious.
But you are not the Iron Empress.
Right.
What you are is clever.
Right.
Now consider someone with my abilities. A few illusions,
Right.
a few spectacles of fire, and I could build my own following. So we simply don't know what we're up against. All that we know is that
I
if they
see.
accepted Ichar into their ranks,
Okay.
they clearly can't be for the benefit of mankind or
I see. And
civilization.
and and my point still stands, like, because it's affiliated with the Iron Emperors, who themselves would, if they did exist, way back when, were definitely not a positive force. Then they specifically chose to imitate that, take that name, which lends something to the type of people they were trying to attract.
Well, yes.
Right.
And we will have to investigate as I have time what their goals are, who their members are, and where their headquarters are.
Hmm.
Hearing that Anleb is, on all likelihood, a member is worrisome because even if Lady Meagral is not a member, favors that she asks from Meagral can
Right.
certainly be channeled to the cult's purpose.
Exactly.
Hearing too that there may be members of the cult in Aldrich's court is also concerning, as it may explain some confusing movements I have seen on that side of the court over the years
Hmm.
that seem to needlessly elevate tensions between the two lords when peace was clearly the most beneficial.
Right.
There was an instance in which a new vein of silver was found in Albert's mines and was producing tremendous wealth and was a complete unknown as to its location. It was a
Mhm.
very well guarded secret. Tensions rose between the two powers at a time when you would want to continue to mine that source and build power
Right.
before engaging in war.
Right.
War was unlikely to uncover the source of the wealth,
Right.
and war did not benefit either side. Yet there were people in the court counseling for war. And a destabilized region is particularly prey to cults.
We'll hold that thought, Kevin. Should we take a break now, or a little bit past, if we're still deep in this conversation?
Sure, let's take a break.
Okay. And we'll get back to talk with Fraldrum about the
That's right. So,
journeys.
yeah, hang out with us for just a few minutes, gang. We're going to go refill our drinks and stretch our legs. And we'll be back and find out what more we need to know about the cult and how well Brise is healing. So thanks for hanging with us so far. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. We're going to go see if Max is ready. Probably not.
I've been here the whole time, and the audience can't prove otherwise.
Welcome back, everybody. We were in conversation with Fraldrum. As you see there on the caption, she's the court magician for Lady Mia Girl. We generally believe a source of good. Um, so she tells you, if you are going to take any sort of action against the cult, then maybe consult her first so you can coordinate, and she can advise you.
Okay. Yeah. I said, my only thought so far is possibly infiltrating the house of Anleb and just seeing what, could find there in terms of writing or artifacts or anything, At least that'll get a sense of how, dangerous this cult is.
I wish we had a sense of how long it had been in operation.
Mm-hmm.
If they have sufficient resources to reach into members of two courts, that means that they have had introductions to those members, just as, for instance, they approached Bengar. Bengar could have been initiated into the cult and then been assigned to make contact with members of the court. Anleb may have been assigned and may have succeeded convincing Miagral to join. What this means is that there are more resources to put magical defenses on their meeting place.
Oh, interesting. I didn't think about that.
And while I have never been tasked with putting magical defenses, never ordered to do so, on some civilian's home, that is not to say that some outside force has not been.
Right.
It may be too dangerous for you to go and investigate. You could go scout. That would probably be safe.
Right.
Observe at night and during the day, see if there are guards posted. Look for, in particular, anything unusual that might suggest that the guards have been given particular abilities or items.
Okay.
For instance, an interesting sign would be whether or not the guards have potion pouches.
Right.
That they might just take a drink and suddenly have the strength of an ogre.
Wait, it's not over, you nincompoop.
Language. Jeez.
I didn't die. That's the only time it'll be over.
That's right. Yeah.
Given that I lived to what was an average high man? What is it like?
Like
100 or something?
No, Hyman lived 200.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll be playing a long time then, Kevin.
That's right. Our present rate is we get about a month done in a year.
Yeah.
So,
if we played every day, we wouldn't be able to.
Right. But I hear your urge that we should try. Mm-hmm. We'll do 365 streams. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
So.
Well, yeah, I tell Fraldrin that scouting does sound like a more safer approach. I can give that a try when I'm feeling better.
I was going to say, I don't need you running out and getting injured and caught My duties sometimes take me away from court for a week at a time, and a week is a long time to be tortured by a cult.
Mhm.
Well, I will leave you to rest. And I don't doubt, Plash and Faramar will be stopping by sometime today or tomorrow to take their leave of you.
Yeah.
So she stands, squeezes your good shoulder affectionately, nods to Bengar, and leaves.
Mhm.
Healer comes in with a note. Aldrich was called back to work.
Oh, well, that's a shame.
You find yourself napping.
I do want to mention this morning on the 20th was supposed to be when our adventurer I had hired would return with some information. Gedrick, female orc,
Right.
fresh adventurer. So I don't know. I don't know if she arrived or not. I'm just pointing out. Would have been expected to be the 20th.
There is a sheath of papers beside your bed on the nightstand. Remind me what she was investigating?
She was investigating Riadon and Chelbrick, the two names mentioned. Names of beings or wizards or powers that are apparently involved in the Vetch along with the Philistine. Which the Philistine may have nothing to do anymore. I gotta write that down. I may have to make an appearance, and I don't know how we'll sort that out. But our strongest card is that hey, Marilyn's been taken care of.
Well, the Trinidas can pass word to Averdal.
This is true, and they can find a way to do it
Yes.
safely.
So it's now safe-ish for you to go explore the Vetch if you wished.
Right.
Um,
I'm also supposed to technically meet the Trinidas early afternoon today. Also.
Right.
Wow. Yeah, Quinn, no rest for the weary. It's like you guys aren't taking a break. It's like, well, there's a lot going on in Karandrin. You can't just.
There's always a lot. I mean, it's not. It's the thing about Karandrin, right? Is it's a moving world. Mm-hmm. The fact that you feel done doesn't mean the world is done with you. Right.
But of course, there will be some celebration. I'm assuming. You missed the part where I got a bunch of cool items and 20 mithril. So.
It does please me when players like the items I've created in the game. It always makes me happy. It means I'm doing a good job.
I just want to wear the eel's armor and like to Aldrich and go like, watch this. Right. Oh. Freaky.
Karen's character has sort of the similar armor, but it's the next level up. It's armor of the hard freeze, and it gives a C cold critical.
Oh, cool.
And she had this creature swing at her as she was charging at it on horseback, and it swung this chain connected to a rock at her, struck her in the shoulder. It was a big hit. I mean, it was like 30 damage or something.
Yeah.
But the C critical that creature took killed it in one blow. Just
oh my gosh.
It was quite a
Go on, push me.
That's right. You take the first swing, man.
I'll give you the first swing. That should be called like the pacifist's armor. I don't fight back.
Right.
My armor hurts you if you hurt me.
That's right. But your mama smells of elderberries, so feel free
to take.
The sheath of papers is it her scribbled notes Said, sorry, you were asleep.
Mhm.
Um, um, Aldrich paid me from your money, from his money, actually. Um, she checked at the Adventuring Guild. She checked at um, all the two magic shops that she could find in town. Um, and no one has heard of either name, but she believes Chelbrick. She was lied to several times about Chelbrick.
Okay.
Does she have a second step that she was going to?
So I need to kind of remember. Um, I know. So you said Ultra Pater or
Yes. So
okay,
Aldrich was there at their bedside the whole
right,
time. So
right.
she comes in, she explains the situation. He doesn't really care if she's telling the truth or not. He just pays her to leave, basically, pays the
Yeah.
agreed upon amount.
Okay. Well, I'll have to pay him back for that. And I just need to find the. I had the name apparently. Okay, robed female half orc Gedrick. Um, she can ask around and let me know by the morning of the 20th. Is what we said.
So
So
she doesn't have a second.
no, yeah. So I would need to reach out again if I wanted to expand the search. But
Yeah.
damn, he paid her 10
Oh,
gold pieces.
yeah.
Oh man. Oh, okay. Well, I gotta, hey, that's a lot of money.
Um, you should keep in mind too. You are now free to enter temples.
Temples. Yes, this
I
is
need to
right.
scratch that off your list. Lala is sitting on your thing. She
Right.
probably
She would have needed to hunt,
yeah,
or at least people maybe brought her, meat.
that's true. You could toss her meat in the air and she could eat it. Um, um, do you want to send her a note and tell her
Yeah.
ask at
So
the
I mean,
temples for you while you're recuperating?
right. So she said she checked in the magic shops and at taverns, right?
Yeah,
And
taverns, adventuring guild, all the magic shops she could find.
right,
Probably did say, probably places where adventurers hung out.
right,
She just went around asking.
right.
Um,
How feasible is it for me to? Well, yeah, I guess if because she could go to another town as well, but then I might as well do that myself and hire someone there, right?
well, I mean, it's immaterial, right? Like if you have things, because you probably, I mean, I assume you're going to be kind of busy here,
Yeah, that's true.
that you're ultimately either be going back to the Four Wells or you're going to be going back to, um, you may just do a night
Yeah,
scouting the house.
yeah. Um. Okay. I might as well. Yeah, if it's not a big deal, I can pay her more to also check out the temples, and for information there.
And do you want her to go to the neighboring town?
Yeah, yeah, might as well. Also check out neighboring towns. One thing that just crossed my mind is that like I should ask some of my contacts too, like Lashwin and Prethnot. I do know some powerful magic users that
Yes,
I could ask about these people. Just a matter of getting in contact with them takes a little while, a
right.
little bit of effort. So, but especially Prethnot, she's still kind of indebted to me, um, or at least offered a service to me. I need to, yeah. Good thing to ask her maybe to do some research too. She'd be pretty good.
Um, so do you want to send a note to your
Yeah.
intern?
So did she? If she left a place to send a note back, I'll do that.
She's staying at your adventuring guild.
Right. So then I'll send note back there, instructing for I'll say 20 25 gold pieces. Also checking the temples and the surrounding
The neighboring in Albertstown.
Yeah. Or like expanding. For 1,000 gold pieces, I want you to go to the Dwarven nation.
Right. What do you care?
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
but at that point, it's like, how truthful do you know? It's like they just sit around for like a month and then write back like, yeah, I didn't find anything.
I took your 200 gold deposit and drank it away for a month.
Right. I'm here for my 700 or 800 remaining gold pieces.
So, are you sending any money with the note?
Yeah, I'll send 5 gold pieces. And a pretty faithful servant go down there.
And so the boy that is carrying the note, how much are you going to give him?
Well, I'll give him a silver then for that much money. I don't care how heavy this is. Don't open it up.
You know, if you wanted to make it lighter where he doesn't look into it, you just put 1 mithril in there.
I just get the mithril and take a little chunk off, and that's about 5 gold pieces worth.
We were taking melatonin last night to try to help us sleep, and I've got 12 milligrams, which is way up there. That's a very high dose. It's not a harmful dose. There is no harmful dose, but Karen, it really has a big effect on her. So we were like pinching off some of my 12 milligrams.
Yeah.
You know.
Just lick it and lick it a couple of times.
So, so why don't you do a bronze to deliver it and 9 bronze and a silver to bring back a message?
Oh, okay, that's clever.
So that there's a guarantee of return.
Okay.
And that's a lot for him and his family. So off he runs. Hopefully he'll be back by this evening.
Right.
And so that's handled. So leave yourself a note that is in progress.
Right on.
What are you going to do about the Trinidas? Can they enter the? I can't remember.
I was gonna ask to back up until Fraldrum that I can keep the Trinidas outside the keep, but they might appear at this point in the afternoon within the keep. If I can't, if I'm not allowed to leave,
I will let the apprentices know that there will be an incursion in the healing ward.
Okay.
Send me word when it's over.
Okay.
And off they go. So now it's just hanging out, napping.
Right.
Until Bengar's gasp wakes you. And the warm, loving glow of the flower people and the tiny hoofs of the Trinidas on your arm wake you.
It's that time again.
Always time for an update. Man, I got all kind of note things I got to take care of because of Verilag.
Yeah, you've got to clean up everything there.
Yeah, I really do.
Erase a couple of people. I wouldn't be surprised if you keep Kralum on there, though. Maybe he'll start some
trouble.
Some trouble and try to get me killed. I would not be surprised.
What's the date today?
The 20th.
Okay. Hey, keyboard. Sorry, gang. Hold on just a minute. So the Trinidas say in their that choral, beautiful music voice of theirs, um, um, you know, they ask with concern, "You've been injured."
Yes, but it's healing nicely. Just the normal, what you call it, the
Wear and tear of an adventurer.
right, normal wear and tear.
Yeah, they tell you they have had luck with the name Chelbrick.
Oh, okay.
Actually, not them, but our ally, ally,
Right.
Averdal, has asked his sources or otherwise researched that it's a dark sorcerer
Mm.
of uh, who has not been heard of for some time. I forget if I have this person rolled up already in the NPC database. That is,
Jailbreak? Yeah.
because sometimes I'll try to do this. Well, obviously, I should try to do it well ahead of time. Um, um, known for, as we said, for really um, dark um, magics,
Mm.
um, um, not a not someone to be trifled with. And apparently, nope, I don't have Shelbrick rolled up. Um, and apparently, not someone um, that can be trusted, and not someone we want. We want interacting with the Philistine.
Mm.
But that's all we really know right now.
Right.
Um, have you had any luck?
No. I was like, okay. Well, we have quite the story for you, Mr. Trinidas. Uh, the other day we led an effort to, free the demon Kralum, and it was surprisingly successful. And he has returned to his realm and Verilag to her prison, which means that there is nothing for the Philistine to take revenge on, it would seem.
And so you propose that they let Alverdal know.
Right. If he can somehow convey that to them.
We will ask that he call a meeting and let them know. Although it is possible they will not believe him.
Right. In which case, I don't know if my presence would have more, or my word would have more of a sway over them. I was one originally informed them of Verilag in the first place, of her, returning to returning to power.
Right.
So it's worth that. If you think that would work, yeah, that's a possibility too. But it's hard to know.
We cannot imagine that that would be successful.
Yeah.
Let us begin with Alverdal and then proceed upon other grounds. We'll urge him to make the meeting as soon as possible, and We will report to you as soon as it is over.
Okay. And showed some joy. We did it. And they're just like, okay.
They are, well, it was the Philistine that they were more worried about than
Yeah, I mean that's true.
they. That's sort of beyond, not beyond them. It's sort of beside the point for them. I mean, their realm is so tiny.
Right.
Um, you know, so all right, I gotta hop over here and roll up Shelbrick if you have. Um, so he obviously did not find much out about Shelbrick other than just a um,
Yeah, they are a living, infamous sorcerer.
right. Not that we don't have enough of those, but
Right, and that would make sense why maybe Garrett Gedrick had people were quiet about Shelbrick. She thought she was being lied to, probably because this person is alive and does have power,
right.
and doesn't want their name being spread around. So,
it is known that he is of your race, one of the Hymen. Oops, misspelled that name.
don't autocorrect Overall to overall.
I know that is
Gonna add them to the dictionary.
right.
Fast
Interesting. They say that, they'll be in touch as soon as they have word of the Philistines meeting.
Could
They
it
can
would be
grant.
better if they could, come on the what day is it? I pulled up my calendar. Could we say to meet on the the 23rd, same time?
Certainly.
Okay. Day and 3 sunrises and sunfalls.
Exactly.
They're like days. What are you talking about?
We don't even experience that. So, I will work on Shelbrick stuff. I've got them rolled up.
That is interesting to think about, like a being that doesn't have eyes, though, right? They would probably still feel days, but more like by temperature, because there's no like zenith for them. It's just like, well, it's hotter now. It must be.
It is really the sort of the coordination required for complex business that really gave rise to careful dating. And I mean, really, I mean, crude dating, agriculture, of course, but then for like more sophisticated business, more complex business, it became, and it's true for clocks too. It was meetings and it gave rise to the ability to measure income produced per hour and things like this, and really began squeezing out profit. It's all that stuff is very interesting. Writing probably arose first from business for loans.
Yeah.
So
it's funny you say that. In crude dating was the agriculture, right? Now it's like dating is too specific for agriculture. To say the seed will germinate in 2 to 3 days. It's like, what do you mean 2 to 3? Like, give you a number, but you can't know.
You can't know.
It's just in time,
right? So, you just kind of nap the rest of the day, I guess. You are wakened by the messenger. He hands you a note. You compare the handwriting on the note to the handwriting on the sheets of paper beside you because you don't want this kid to have just written down an answer and pocket the money, and they do match. It's agreed, but they would prefer 50 gold, given they have to travel.
49 and the silver. No, it's 50 is fine. Money is not too
Not too tight
worry
now.
about it too much. Yeah.
Oh, was the 20 mithril you got? Was that not enough? Oh,
It's funny because I look at like my money here, and it's just the myth. It's so funny because like it still feels like I'm poor, but then I see the mithril, like 20
yes.
2,000 gold.
Yeah, hey, change it in if you want. I think what did I figure out?
No, I mean I have 400 pieces of gold right now in spare. That's
No. But if you want that feeling of wealth,
just carry around pounds of gold, 2,000 pieces. Yeah, did we do the math before? How much is like a gold piece?
a pound of any coin is 64 of those coins.
64. Okay, so I'm already carrying around quite a load of gold.
About 6. You've got about 6 pounds of gold right now.
Yeah, yeah.
So you'd add another 5 pounds, have 11 pounds of gold just to throw in your bag.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Aldrich comes and sees you that evening. You guys do dinner together.
I offer to pay him. That is too much gold. I give it to him. He can't take it.
He takes it. It was a. I mean, he has it, but most of it's tied up in equipment and.
Right. But thank you for doing that for me.
Oh, you do have we were talking about you building a life with him, whether you want to start setting aside money. He could hold it, right?
Yeah, I remember we brought that up. I can't remember if I.
You're just in a point of excess and he's nearby is what brought it to mind for me. But you can do whatever you want.
Right.
Bengar is Bengar, obviously is still in there. He's going to leave tomorrow. You find out. Okay. He notices your obvious relationship with Aldrich, and he requests a bottle of very fine wine for you two, and he toasts to your continued happiness and everything, and you guys have a great evening. The healers do interrupt your meal and tell you that tomorrow morning the potion will be administered, and if it does what we hope it will do, then you could leave tomorrow from the healing.
I do hope.
So
I really do got to clean up my notes too. All of them say like Veralags, this is watch out for that.
Yeah, I know. You've got to all your watchwords, all your You can now throw those cautions to the wind.
I had one that was really funny. It was like have Nalkarth watch the door unless Veralag's present. I'm like, well, that's just neither of those are relevant anymore.
Poor Nalkarth.
Yeah.
Lost to the shadows.
Lost to the shadows.
All right. So, Aldrich leaves, gives you a passionate kiss. It looks like you're napping for the evening.
All right.
Let's go to the next day, and then we can talk about if you want to play a few more minutes or if you want to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Give me your 3 rolls.
Let's do the rolls. You never know what's going to happen in Karandrin. 57.
Healthy.
95.
Sleep very late.
Is that open ended or?
It is.
Plus 47.
Wow. Okay. Sleep the early afternoon.
Then 94.
Oh, you do have a memorable dream. Interesting.
All right. Dream time. wonder what it could be.
So you dream of you, Bengar, and Aldrith sneaking down alleyways in the night and following the whispers of the Iron Empress. Like you don't see the Iron Empress, but just how in a dream you'll just have knowledge that you don't have any way of knowing. You just know it's the Iron Empress, and you guys you're following her trail, and she's unaware that you're following her trail.
Right.
And so it's kind of it's kind of a fun dream that you don't want to read too much into, but clearly
where you wake up from and you're like, what the?
That's right.
Why was I doing that?
Yeah, you wake really crazy late.
Yeah. So I say we can play until they, apply the potion and see how I feel, because then you might. Yeah.
They
a good place to start the next session with me actually getting out of bed and doing stuff.
Right. So you eat an enormous meal. Bengar is gone. He's left you a note reminding you of that he is at your service.
Cool.
And Aldrith left you a note saying that he left you sleeping. And your adventurer left you a note that said that she's plans to hit all the temples in town today with your new agreement, and then she will go to the neighboring town and return and give word on all of it.
Right.
And she'll visit you. Oh, and we'll say that you sent a note after the Trinidos left.
Oh, right. Yeah, we won't forget about that.
We'll just sort of magically do that. The healers come, they have the potion, they let you finish eating. They just say, call to one of us when you're done eating. You finish, and they sort of unwrap your shoulder, and they have 2 potions. They pour the first on.
This one's poison. This one's not.
And you can feel like just a warmth on your shoulder, a tingling, and then this comfort there, the stiffness, all of it's gone. And they tell you to move it tenderly, and they unwrap it, and it's as good as new. Wow, that's a huge roll. It's as good as new. And they give you another potion. They tell you, with Lady Meagraw's compliments, a potion of Mend Shatter, which is what they had to use here. They tell you that this potion is it's very powerful, but it needs help sometimes because it's a shatter. Not all the bones can be in the right place. So you could fuse a shatter in its shattered form stupidly. So if you feel like the bones are relatively well aligned,
right,
the shoulder was just way too complex for you.
Yeah.
That's what the surgery was for. Not even to try to knit the bones together, but to move them where they needed to be.
Interesting. Yeah, and then use a potion to
just quickly knit them together really well. It can do some repositioning.
Right.
But the blow you took mangled those, pushed those shards down in places they shouldn't be.
Right. Don't drink if I think the bones are
too misaligned.
Way out of whack.
That's I don't want to be technical.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Say my thanks to the lady. That's very useful.
And they tell you that there is word that she will want to speak with you. And so if you are don't be gone from the keep too long.
Okay.
Should you step out? Um, and so there you go. So you are healed. It
Yeah.
is early afternoon.
Wow.
Um,
2
and
sessions where 2 things went right. Oh my gosh.
I know that is not Karandrin's way. It is, and of course, it's not really role playing's way, right? You really do need. It's not going to. If it's all going to go well, it's not going to be
Right.
good.
That's not a story. Yeah.
Yeah. So there we go. We're at a good stopping point. As we
Yeah.
mentioned before, gang, we've got one more session this year. That'll be on the 20th, and then we'll be back on the 5th. And we may discuss he and I. Oh, sorry. I'll move that out of your way, but
Negroes in the way. Get
I'll
out.
move that one. I
There
think
we
this
go.
one's longer anyway. It covers both of us. Okay.
Oh.
And so here, I'll help. So the
Oh, don't look at me.
so yeah, so we back. So next week will be our last one for the year. We'll be back on the January 5th, and we may even discuss some other dates beyond that, and just go ahead and get our January calendar rolled out. Just pay attention to the website, and that'll help keep you informed. But we'll also try to make an announcement before the new year and let you know if about anything new. But hey, thanks as always for hanging out with us. It's been another great calendar year of Karandrin, and I hope you've enjoyed it as much as we did. I can't believe we got some of the things accomplished that we did. If you think we're doing a good job, pop the donor box. You see the link there, and send us a little love. If you're hankering for some Max, who has some new videos up on his YouTube channel, you can find him there where he'll discuss the roles of music and original soundtracks in video games. Thanks to Elliot Dunovitz for the character art for Brise that we use throughout each session. You can find more of their work at artstation.com/Tortolua. And I've written a novel that would make a great Christmas gift or gift for enemies if you really want to send some love to enemies. And called A Short Too Far. You find that on Amazon, and you can just hop over there and purchase it. So thanks again for a great year. Max, say goodbye to these lovely people.
Oh, thanks everybody. Yeah. And we'll see you one more time, and then we'll depart for the holidays. But yeah, tune in next week for another session.
That's right. All right. Well, thank you guys. We'll see you in a week.